Josh, part of the problem, I guess the biggest part of the problem, was the fact that Ted Cruz thought he should go down to Mexico in the middle of this freeze-up in the first place. But compounding that was the fact that his story kept changing. As we say, first he was just dropping his family off and coming back the next day. Then it turned out that his wife Heidi was inviting friends to come join them through the weekend. Take a look.
I was trying to be a dad, and all of us have made decisions. When you've got two girls who have been cold for two days and haven't had heater power.
And I'd initially planned to stay through the weekend and to work remotely there.
Josh, how damaging and why is it that Cruz, who once called your former boss Mitch McConnell a liar on the Senate floor, why is he so unpopular with senators of both parties?
Well, look, I think Senator Cruz made a mistake. It's as simple as that. And I actually found a lot of humanity in his response. Obviously, this was all unfolding while he was in the air on the way to Cancun and trying to get his family out of Texas, which, you know, as a senator was a mistake. He should not have done it. He apologized. He was right to do so. But I think the other piece of this, and the reason it's ultimately not going to hurt him politically, is the media distortion of how Republicans are treated versus how Democrats are treated. There have been 35 separate news stories in the Washington Post alone on Senator Cruz and Cancun, noting, by the way, there is no actual difference that has happened here as a result of his trip. Nothing had been done or not done as a result of his trip. The nightly news broadcasts dedicated 2 and 3 times the amount of coverage to Senator Cruz than they did Andrew Cuomo in the nursing home scandal. So, I mean, the message that sends to conservatives across the country is, you know, and if you're a Democrat and you put nursing home policies in place that contribute to the death of perhaps thousands of people, you get an Emmy. But if you take an ill-timed beach vacation like Senator Cruz did, you're run out of house and home. Ultimately, until we start grappling with the differences of how these things are covered by the national media, I think we're going to be really disappointed by what motivates voters across this country.
Well, let me say that we're going to cover Andrew Cuomo in a moment, but I just want to ask you, Kristen, about this. I think part of the problem also is that this is exactly the kind of thing that Ted Cruz, the kind of mistake that Ted Cruz would jump on if it happened to somebody else, and it has happened to some other people. In December, Cruz attacked the mayor of Austin for going to Mexico during the pandemic with this: hypocrites, complete and utter hypocrites. And he also takes on his own party. In 2017, he attacked Republican Governor Chris Christie for visiting a closed beach when the New Jersey state government was shut down. Kristen, is this the kind of thing that voters will remember?
I think voters will remember how you make them feel. And if you make them feel like you don't care about them, they do remember that sort of thing. That's why some politicians thrive. They persuade voters that they understand what they're going through. I think for a lot of voters, they didn't have the opportunity to fly to Cancun to escape the cold from Texas. But I think the thing that is even more frustrating about the whole discourse around Texas, as you mentioned earlier in the show, fights over things like, well, do we need any wind farms? Do we need any clean energy? There's a lot of really important conversations to be had about the need to make our infrastructure in this country more resilient. And I just worry that we've spent more time worrying about Ted Cruz trying to get a margarita than what I think is the most important thing, which is making sure that our country can be more resilient against all kinds of threats, including